So the first question of today is, what is there to know about the goddess Kali? How to connect to her and how to pray to Kali. To understand a little bit more about the goddess Kali, we have to look at the roots of Hinduism. Hinduism, just like the Semitic religions like Judaism, Christianity and Islam, are one of the main groups of modern religions. And if you look at the principles of Hinduism, you see that it went through several stages as a religion. So it started out postulating that there was basically one source, one creator being, which is generally identified as either Mahavishnu or Mahashiva, like a greater being who is the source of actually our current universe. And within our current universe there's many different powers. So there is the manifestations of the creator. So the creator exists outside, manifests the universe, and then manifests also an image of him, her, itself inside this universe as a kind of a caretaker role or participant role. And this is a very interesting concept, because what is considered to be very special to Christianity, that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, is actually considered very normal to Judaism. They think it's very normal for the highest being, the supreme being, to be involved in its creation and to take incarnation in a physical human form. So Rama and also Krishna are also considered to be incarnations of the supreme being. To understand Kali, we have to look at the why of the universe. So the supreme being exists, and this supreme being is described as floating on the cosmic ocean, dreaming its dreams, and while it is sleeping and dreaming, out of its dreams little drops of sweat appears on its forehead, and every drop of sweat is actually a universe in itself. So according to the Hindu tradition, there are many parallel universes in existence, and they're connected by the cosmic ocean, and also all of them are in connection with the supreme being, which in a way you could say distills the universe out of the primordial chaos. And this process is basically done by two elements, the male and the female element. And this is where Kali comes into play. The image of Kali, I will show it here. The image of Kali is of a woman who is dancing on top of a man. No, I just showed the image of Kali to the camera. You'll see it, hopefully. I'll show it again. So we see here Kali, the goddess Kali, who was dancing on top of a man. And this man is signifying Shiva or her husband, or some other manifestation of the supreme male energy, while Kali herself manifests the supreme female energy. So as we all know, the male energy is passive energy, it's not doing anything, while the female energy is the active energy, the one which creates movement. And the mythological story is that basically Shiva and Kali, Shiva and Shakti, we also can say were joined. So they were just one in the Supreme Being. But at a certain point there was kind of a split, and you had a manifestation of the masculine and a manifestation of the feminine. And the feminine was a little bit more active, so it wanted to also create a movement in the masculine. So it started a very seductive dance to arouse the masculine energy. And while Kali is dancing, it is creating the veils of Maya, the veils of illusion. And the masculine element is so attracted by the dance of the beautiful Kali, about the beautiful illusions which she is spinning in her dance, that the spirit, which is also Shiva, starts to penetrate her. It goes into the world of illusion, into what we call our universe. And what is illusion then becomes filled with divine essence, and therefore it turns into a living reality. And this is actually how the cosmos is created in the story of Kali. So Kali is in a way the force which is attracting the spirit to manifest, to incarnate into the physical world. And she's not just the one who gets it in there, but also the one who knows the way back, also knows how to liberate the spirit, so that it can go back to its divine self and not stay caught in illusion. So it's very much also the spirit of liberation, just like Shiva is, but in a more active role. So the essence of Kali was later, you could say, subdivided into the portfolios of several other goddesses. Because the female energy contains a few aspects for which she is worshipped. So one of the aspects is basically the path of wisdom, of knowledge, of understanding. In the Western tradition, you would say the Sophia, the divine wisdom. Another aspect is actually the nurturing aspect of the mother. So the power of Lakshmi, money, happiness, wealth, support. So you could say that this is also one of the great feminine aspects. And you find that a little bit also back in the threefold goddess, as she was worshipped in the form of Hecate, and also in the form of the mother goddess in Druidic culture, where you also have like the maiden, the mother and the crone, also showing the different phases of life and also the different qualities. So you have the seductive maiden, who in a way moves the masculine energy. You have the mother, who nurtures, who supports, and you have the crone, who contains the wisdom, the knowledge of all that has been, and also liberates things from existence. And in this last element, or last aspect of Kali, she is the liberator, she is the goddess of death. And this is signified by wearing a necklace made of heads. And this is also The head is seen as the highest part of the body, which is in a way severed, and therefore it is liberated from its lower impulses, from the lower parts of our being, which are trapped in the world of matter, in the world of illusion. So in a way, the killing by Kali, as the killing which is done by all the manifestations of God, is not so much seen as an act of aggression, but as an act of liberation, where things and people are liberated from their unconscious or demonic patterns to emerge into a higher world, into a higher form of being, a higher layer of awareness. So that's a little bit about the goddess Kali. What you see is that the original idea of worship was very much focused on the creator beings, who were in a way seen as being here with us, playing with us, and we are in a way manifestations of their energy. So in a way Kali is living or incarnating through me, and Shiva is living and incarnating also through me. So people realized that they and the deity and the creator were in a way one, were linked. But when we move forward a bit, we see that Alexander of Macedonia, Alexander the Great, invaded India and brought with it a very different impulse. So before Alexander's invasion, it was more or less more a matriarchal culture, or a moon cult, as you could say. It was very much focused on just survival, the cycles of the seasons. Fertility was an important aspect. But when they were introduced to the Greek gods and goddesses, a very different impulse came in, very much more the cultural aspect and also more the solar aspect. Like, what is the path of your consciousness? How does your consciousness want to develop itself? Is your path that's of a warrior, or is your path of a priest, or are you working with beauty and art, or you get that just like the Greeks, people started to worship more individualized gods, which more were showing smaller fragments of reality than that they were focusing on the creator as a whole. You see that in a way Hinduism is kind of a midway religion. So they didn't go all the way to the Greek standpoint, where they almost forgot about the creator powers and the elemental powers and focused on the cultural, but they went a little bit more in that direction. So to, in a way, keep on working with the creator power, but also added the more personal aspect. So this is where you get the fragmentation of both the masculine and the feminine power into several aspects. But for the Hinduistic people, an aspect is also realized as being an aspect. It is not seen as a completely separate entity. So for a person who says like, okay, I'm interested in Brahma, or in Vishnu, or in Shiva, or in Lakshmi, or in Saraswati, it doesn't mean that this person is only following that aspect, but that this is their chosen aspect. So they choose to relate to the Supreme Being through that aspect for their current incarnation, because they realize that the entirety of the divine is impossible to understand and to comprehend, and also to try to encompass all this knowledge into a lowly being as a human form. That this is not a possibility, and that even for a god, or in Western tradition an angel, it is not a possibility to really absorb all this knowledge and this path into one incarnation. And this is why they, in full knowledge that they're working with a fragment and that their path is also a very fragmentary path, they can say, like, I devote my current incarnation to worshipping this aspect of the divine. So, when it comes to Kali, we find that her form was worshipped a lot in the northern parts of India, and you also find several temples there. It's not really in the mountainous regions, not really in the heart of the Himalayas, but more in the foothills of the Himalayas. Important thing to note is also that for the people who worship Kali, in a way the world is a gift which she enticed her Lord Shiva to make available for all our beings. So from the perspective of a Kali worshipper, everything belongs to Kali. And since we are also manifestations of Kali, in a way this world is also ours. So the world is both, in a way, you, it's a reflection of you, of the divine part of you. And this also makes it a very, you could say, almost Dionysian culture, where you don't have the borders a lot. There's not really a separation between you and the divine, or between you and me, or between me and the tree, or me and the animal. They believe that all these differences which exist are just little nuances, little movements of the dance of Kali. So she dances this way and it's a tree, and she moves that way and it's a dog, and she moves like that and it's a human. And but the essence of all things is the same. But because the nuances of her dance are attractive to other parts of the Supreme Spirit, also different aspects of the Supreme Spirit come and incarnate and fill our bodies. So in a way, by the way our bodies are created in a physical form through the forces of Kali, the spirit, or the Great Spirit, responds by creating a different spirit form to incarnate into the physical form. In the teachings of Kali, the spirit itself is made up out of three different types of energy. So it's very similar to the physical energy. So the energy of the physical energy can be in a kapha state, which is a kind of a stable, restful state. And for the spirit, this is called the tamas state. The physical body can also be in an active state, in a state where it is more more fiery, and also the spirit can also exist in a more active state, where it is more, you could say, experimental. It wants to do things, it wants to move. And this is actually one of the main teachings of Kali, namely that our spirit has the tendency, just like our body, to be a little bit lazy. So the body likes to be in a kapha state, it likes to hang just on the couch and sit and watch TV, and our spirit is actually the same. It also has a kind of a laziness about it. It likes to do the same thing, it likes to have the same rhythm, it doesn't like to be challenged or bothered or have problems all the while. It just wants things to be easy. And Kali teaches that to actually liberate our spirit, we have to be able to move our spirit also from the tamas state into the rajas state. The rajas is really the fiery, the active state. So the third state of the spirit is the sattvic state. So that doesn't correspond totally with the physical constitution, because the physical constitution is more of a very sensitive but also a very mental person, while the sattvic state is, in a way, you return to balance, but it is an active or a dynamic balance, while the tamas is more an inertia. And these three energies, they all need to be balanced. So it is, what is said is that to be able to have any spiritual advancement, we need a sattvic energy, a sattvic element in our spirit. Because if it is in tamas, it is not doing anything, it is just absorbing. If it is in rajas, it is active, it is doing something. But by doing something, it is also, in a state of imbalance, of illusion, of focus, of not being whole, not being harmonious. And it is actually this sattvic element of our spirit which we can nurture or ascend to, that brings balance to the rajas and the tamas parts of our spirit. So it is very much a path of spiritual development and learning to feel the different states which your spirit energy can be in, and learning how to move your spirit energy also from one state into the next. And this is also in a way what the dance of Kali signifies, because Shiva himself, the ultimate creator, the ultimate spirit, was also in a tamas state. He was sleeping, he was just lying there and being like, okay, I'm supreme being, that's fine. And it is really through the dance of Kali that he gets interested, he becomes aroused, he wants to connect with this feminine energy. And Kali, in a way, gets Shiva to move into the rajas, into the active state, to follow her into this dance of Maya. And also to, in a way, to harmonize creation, to make sure that the universe which is created doesn't fall apart, it is not mere illusion, but it actually has a consistency, a constancy. She has to add the sattvic quality to create a harmonious and balanced relationship between everything in the universe, because otherwise it would unbalance and self-destruct. And so she also brings or entices this sattvic quality in the spirit of Shiva. And from the perspective of the followers of Kali, this is also what the world is about. So Kali is still dancing around us, is still moving around us. And by the movements of Kali, our spirit, which lives in us, should be enticed to move first into this Rajas state and then move into the sattvic state, so that we, in a way, follow the path of Shiva. Our spirit awakens, it becomes part of creation, we start participating in the world, we become co-creators, if you will, together with Kali, enticed by her dance. And in a way, as a reward for, or a result of doing this, of becoming more like Shiva, we are also able to join again with the Supreme Being, become part of Shiva. We reach a state of higher awareness, higher incarnation, enlightenment, maybe even liberation from our cosmos or our layer of consciousness. So this is very much the essence of Kali. So that's a little bit of what is there to know about the goddess of Kali. One more interesting thing is, of course, the infamous Thagi sect. When the British took over India, there was a group of followers of Kali called the Thugs, or Thagi. And they were nomadic people, usually trading in gems, because in mountains you find precious stones and things like this. and part of their rites were human sacrifice. And to make a sacrifice holy, there couldn't be any spilling of blood, because blood and the blood flow was held to be also a manifestation of the Raja's energy, and if a person would bleed, they would lose their life force, they would lose energy. And if there's not enough life force, then the person cannot ascend. You need the power of life, of passions, of other things to make a transition into higher worlds. So for their killings, they could not shed any blood, because then the person they killed would not be able to reach higher levels of awareness. So they used to strangle their victims. But for them it was not so much about killing, it was for them very much about doing Kali's work, about, in a way, taking a person who is in a lower state, and by killing them in a ritual fashion, they would be, in a way, guided by Kali, with them as an instrument, into a higher world. So they saw it not so much as acts of aggression, but manifesting the power of Kali in this world by helping people or moving people back to the spirit world. Well, of course, the British saw it quite differently. They saw them as a bunch of murderers and killed all of them. So that was the end of the Thuggy cult. But in northern India there are still places, temples of Kali, which are in existence. So yeah, this is one way to connect to her, to, in a way, commit human sacrifice. But there are other ways which are a little bit more legal and a little bit more less aggressive ways to pray to Kali.